Hey everyone, welcome back to Let's Talk. I am your host, John, and today on the channel we're actually going to be talking a little bit of TV. We're going to be talking about the 2025 miniseries that just debuted on Netflix, Adolescence, the TV series that everybody is talking about. And to subscribe to the channel, a buddy of mine, 021OM6, recommended I check this channel out. And I was like, okay, I'll check it out, and I'll review it for the channel members or the friends of the channel tier or higher. Mainly because this isn't a TV channel first, and the YouTube algorithm just definitely won't push a TV review for me. But after I checked it out, I was like, nah, I gotta tell people about this show. Even if one more person finds this video and decides to check out the show Adolescence, then I feel like I did my job, because this show is the greatest piece of art that I've seen in 2025. Better than any film I've seen, any other show that I've seen. It's just absolutely incredible. And, you know, it's a very, very, very tough watch. I'm not going to lie to you guys. The subject matter, it's pretty dark, but it's also very, very important. I think it's going to teach a lot of people about empathy in a world nowadays that just seems to lack it completely. And if you're a fan of filmmaking or just great television making in general, I mean, the way that this is constructed is just absolutely incredible. It's a 4-episode miniseries. Each episode is told in one continuous shot, and they don't break. Like, it's actually one continuous shot, like no CGI tricks, no nothing. Each episode is about 51 minutes to 65 minutes long, and each episode is told in one singular shot. That is absolutely incredible and extremely difficult to do. When we see wonders in movies, think of Goodfellas or Boogie Nights. Like, those don't last that long. Imagine a 65-minute one shot. And we're not staying in like one location, especially in the first episode. We're moving around, going to different locations. So we're going to be spending time in the car as well. The camera's got to get out of the car. You know, any little mistake can screw this entire thing up. And it takes a lot of planning, I imagine. Apparently, they shot each episode, which is a 4-episode miniseries. They shot each episode 10 times, twice a day, for 5 days for each. So that's 40 takes that they had to do. I imagine by like the 8th or 9th take, muscle memory kicks in and you can just do this stuff in your sleep. But still, I mean, this is extremely difficult if you're an actor, a producer, or director, just to keep track of everything. I imagine when the camera's not on you, you know, they're obviously probably feeding you some lines, making sure you understand what you're about to do next. But still, I mean, I can only imagine the difficulty in this. And just in general, if the story and the plot didn't work, just to have it like be this technically sound is just absolutely incredible in general. But the show itself is extremely interesting. The show was created by Jack Thorne and Stephen Graham. Stephen Graham also actually stars in this show as the father of the kid, played by Owen Cooper, in his debut role, by the way. Might be the best debut of a child actor that I've ever seen. I believe he's like 15 years old or 16 years old at this point. He plays a 13-year-old named Jamie, who at the beginning of the show, he's being arrested for killing a schoolmate with a knife. And, you know, at the very beginning, we're all very confused. Did he do it? Did he not do it? That's why the show is structured so well, because the first episode is just about him being arrested, how the cops deal with him, how a lawyer deals with him, how his own family at this very point is dealing with the entire situation, the confusion that is going on. We're just as confused as everybody else is confused. And it's all done so realistically, so natural. Nothing is over dramatized. Everybody is acting their ass off to make this feel like a very real type of scene. You know, the way people are reacting, it's nothing too like ridiculous. Nobody's trying to steal the scene. Nobody's trying to steal the scene. Everybody's acting very natural. And it's incredibly well done. Like, it makes you feel like this is a real arrest. They're going through all the proper channels to make sure everything is done correctly. And, you know, I live in the United States. This is a UK-based show. This is a British television show. So I'm obviously, in my head, comparing the differences to the United States and the British way of how people get arrested, how they treat their prisoners. Very different kind of thing. One thing I noticed is very, very clean. Of course, I also found out that that set that they were in is a set. It's not actually a real police station, but I thought the police station was very clean when they ended up getting there. But that was a set built for this so that they could, you know, obviously maneuver in a certain way so that they can move the camera around and keep that one shot going. If they have to walk down really long hallways, it might get a little bit excessive, but no, it's all structured very well. I was just like, wow, very, very, very clean. But the subject matter is very dark. And of course, we're asking Owen Cooper to play this kid with all these huge range of emotions, especially in the first episode, but he really gets this episode to shine as far as being an actor. In the third episode, it's really just him and one other actress, and the two of them, mainly him, act their asses off in that, because each episode is exploring kind of a different part of this. Like, the first episode's the arrest, the second episode's in the school, the third episode's we'll just say it's between him and another character, and then the fourth episode is exploring the family of Jamie. And that's where you get to really see Stephen Graham shine. I would say besides Owen Cooper, Stephen Graham really shines in this show. In the fourth episode, I'm pretty sure it'll break most people by the end of it. There wasn't a dry eye in my house, given it's only two people here. But it just asks a lot of tough questions of the viewer. And it really makes you reflect on the world in general, because the way that Stephen Graham, who wanted to make this show, like him and Jack Thorne, noticing a rising of boys killing girls in the United Kingdom, mainly using knives, and they wanted to explore why does that keep happening, the influence of, you know, the culture around them on them. Like I think he said recently in an interview that teenage boys are in trouble just because of the influences around them. You know, with the world of technology, it's not the same world that, you know, maybe you and I grew up in. I'm sure there's younger viewers who watch this channel as well. You know, technology, social media didn't come out until I was almost out of high school. Kids today are born into a world where social media, cell phones are just right at the forefront. I couldn't imagine how that is because I didn't grow up in this world. But Stephen Graham and Jack Thorne are trying to tackle these issues that face our adolescents nowadays and try and, you know, nip it in the butt before things get way too out of hand. And that's why I think this show is so important for everybody to see, especially if you're parents. I'm not a parent. I couldn't imagine watching the show as a parent. It's probably even darker and harder because it's asking the tough questions of the parents. But it's a very, very, very tough show to watch. But luckily, they do such a good job making the show, and the acting, if you're a fan of acting, is so well done. The production design is so well done. You know, it's going to keep your attention the entire time. I sat down and watched this in one sitting, which is the way I recommend to do it. It's about the same length as, Avengers Endgame. So if you're able to watch Avengers Endgame, given not as entertaining as Avengers Endgame, I still think you're going to get a lot out of watching this show. I really think you'll come out of it appreciating it, and it's also one that you're going to be talking about. Right now, this has a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think a lot of people saw that score and was like, oh, I have to check this show out. And as long as more people see this show, I think that this will be the one that people are going to be talking about. I think for years to come, when the Emmys roll around, I imagine a lot of people will be getting nominations for this because it's just absolutely incredible. You can check that out on Netflix right now. 4-part miniseries. I can highly recommend it. If I was going to rate this show on a score of 1 to 10, I would give Adolescence a 10 out of 10. Absolutely incredible. I highly recommend this one, guys. But anyway, it's going to do it here for me on another episode of Let's Talk. I usually do these kind of reviews for channel members, so if you want to become a friend of the channel, a producer for the channel like John Doe Juggalo, a channel director like Uncle V, Kevin Kruger, and Nicholas Head, or even a channel bankroll member like Frank from Frank's Media Reviews and Mr. Smelly Potato, you guys can look for all of that information in the description below, where you'll get a couple of extra videos, including reviews just like this. But if you got no money to throw away, guys, don't you worry. We just hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, get out in those streets, tell your friends about us, and then we'll be seeing you around.